Hello and welcome to this tutorial. In today's one we're going to be covering the UNIX head and tail command and show you a couple of useful options. Actually, thankfully, on head and tail there aren't that many options at all. Now if you have a long file and you want to look at the top of the file, you can use head and it just shows you a top section of the file. Now there's two other commands I'm going to use during this tutorial. You don't need to worry about them. One is clear, which just clears the screen. So if I just get something on the screen, there you go, I've got something on the screen, and if I type in clear, we have a clear screen. I'll be using that just to make it easier for you to be able to see what's going on. So now there's a file in there which, well, okay, I'll use ls as well just so you can see. There's a file in there called ps.log. So that's the file that I'm going to be working with for this tutorial. So this is a log file that I'm creating. It's purely meaningless, it's just for the purpose of this tutorial. Let's clear the screen. And it's constantly having new things added to the end of it. It's a proper logging file, okay? It's just logging stuff. So if I type in head ps.log, it gives me a few lines of the file. Let's clear the screen. You don't need to understand what it is, what the data is. It's telling me what's going on the system, but it doesn't matter. It's giving me the top few lines of the file. If I type in clear just to clear the screen, if I wanted to see a little more, I could type in an option of -n. -n means number of lines. So I didn't actually count how many lines were there. It wasn't very many. Let's say random number 20, which should show me the top 20 lines. And there you can see it's displayed is longer than before. And so that really much covers head. It's nice and simple. If you have got a long file, and when you're starting to go through log files, they can be thousands of lines long. It's really handy sometimes just to see what's at the top of them. Also, when you're going through files, it's quite often useful to see what's at the bottom of them. And for that we use the command tail. So tail ps.log, and that shows me what's at the end of that file. Now just note a couple of entries at the bottom just above where it says sleeping. Just take a look at those numbers. It's 24900. If I run the same command again, .log, you'll see they're different. The reason they're different is because, as I said, this file is constantly updating. Updates, I think, every 5 seconds or so. So that just shows that it is changing. Now, quite often, you actually want to watch when there are changes occurring. So we clear the screen. And to do that, you can use the -f, which I believe stands for -follow. I think that's what it stands for. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what it stands for. -f, and then we give it the file name. Tink. And there you go. You can see it's updating. Now it's filled the screen. Oh yeah, you can actually see it moving. And so that's just every time data is written, it updates the screen. It is not following the 5-second updates or anything else. as data arrives there, it displays it. The reason that it's not updating very often is because the program generating that information only writes new information every 5 seconds. And to get out of that, that will keep going for until you tell it to stop, basically. You can see actually those, do you remember I told you to look at those two numbers before, just above sleeping? If you watch, it's now 8485, it's now 9091. Wait another 5, there we go, 9798. So you can see that it is actually changing. To exit out of that, you use the Control C on the keyboard, and that takes you out of there. Tail, although I've never actually used this, I guess it's useful, but I personally haven't had need to use it. Just like with head, you can just tail ps minus log dot log, shows you a few, tail minus number of lines, ps dot log, and it gives you the number of lines. We'll clear the screen. So I've never actually used the -n on tail. I typically either just use tail, just show me the last few lines, or the -f, which is I'm interested in seeing what's going on that file every time it updates. That's typically how certainly I've used it in my experience. And as I've explained in other of my tutorials, Unix has a really neat little feature called man, which is short for manual. You just type in man and the command that you want to get information on. So let's take a look at tail, and it tells you all about it. It's got lots of options. I won't go into them now, but you can see it says press H. You can see the options. Typically you just press spacebar and look down until you find the bit that you're interested in, and to get out of that you do Q. I hope you found this tutorial useful, and in some ways will help you progress as you're trying to use Unix or Linux. At this level they can be considered the same. There are some purists which will argue Linux is not Unix, and well, at a purist level, yes, they're right, but at the everyday using level, pretty much they're interchangeable these days. It's close enough. Please subscribe to my channel. Doing regular updates, and I make videos whenever I have the time. And please watch the intro video to the channel. It tells you a little bit more about my background and why I'm setting this channel up and what the goals and the objectives of this channel are. Thanks again for your time, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.